Stop Kidney Damage Now, the 5 Fruits That Protect Seniors, and the 7 You Must Avoid at All Costs. Did you know one familiar fruit could silently raise your creatinine and push you toward dialysis? Why are some fruits called super protectors that help the kidneys live longer, while others contain toxins that can trigger a coma within hours? How many seniors in America are unknowingly damaging their kidneys every single day just by eating the wrong fruit they thought was safe? This isn't just about sweet or sour. It's about staying healthy or ending up in the emergency room. Let's find out right now. 1. Apples. A humble but steadfast friend protecting weak kidneys. In the long line of fruit choices at American supermarkets, where fresh tropical fruits such as mangoes, pineapples, and bananas always stand out for their vibrant colors and sweet taste, apples, with their familiar and straightforward appearance, are often overlooked. However, apples are a healthy choice for people with chronic kidney disease, CKD, and a silent guard that protects the kidneys daily, as recommended by many nutritionists specializing in kidney disease in the U.S. One of the most significant advantages of apples is their low potassium content, which is especially important for people with impaired kidney function. According to USDA Food Data Central, an average apple, approximately 180 grams, contains only about 195 milligrams of potassium, much lower than the amount of potassium found in bananas, 422 milligrams per fruit, or oranges, 237 milligrams per fruit. This makes apples an ideal choice for people who need to limit potassium, especially in stages 3 to 4 of CKD, when the kidneys can no longer excrete excess potassium, leading to the risk of heart arrhythmia, fatigue, or even death if potassium suddenly increases. However, the value of apples does not stop at low potassium numbers. Apples are one of the richest natural food sources of pectin, a soluble fiber that can regulate cholesterol and blood glucose levels. According to research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2008, pectin indirectly reduces serum creatinine by improving lipid metabolism and blood sugar control, 2 key risk factors for chronic kidney disease. In addition, stabilizing blood sugar also helps prevent or control type 2 diabetes, the leading cause of kidney failure in the U.S., according to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, NIDDK. Another thing to note is that apples are very low in oxalate, less than 2 milligrams per fruit, according to an analysis by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. This is especially important for patients with calcium oxalate kidney stones, the most common type in the United States. The National Kidney Foundation has repeatedly emphasized that a low oxalate diet helps reduce the risk of stone recurrence in patients with complicated CKD. The apple peel, the part that is often discarded, is the gold mine of antioxidants that you should not waste. USDA studies show that apple peels contain many times more quercetin, catechin, and chlorogenic acid than the flesh, which help neutralize free radicals and reduce inflammation, 2 biological processes closely related to kidney tissue damage and the progression of CKD. At the same time, these compounds also support the gut-kidney axis by nurturing a healthy gut microbiome, thereby reducing the absorption of toxins, urea, and creatinine, according to a synthesis from Nature Reviews Nephrology in 2021. For busy Americans, especially the elderly or migrant workers who often eat irregularly, an apple in your pocket is a snack and a solution to control blood sugar, fight inflammation, add fiber, and protect kidney function without complicated cooking utensils or preparation. You can eat apples directly, combine them with unsalted nut butter, or lightly bake them with cinnamon for a delicious dessert that does not increase the filtration load on the kidneys. Apples do not need to be advertised loudly, but the simplicity, harmony, and consistency in its value help it go beyond its appearance, becoming one of the U.S.'s safest and most trusted fruits for kidney patients. In a world of foods full of potassium, phosphorus, and refined sugar, an apple a day really can keep the kidney doctor away. The adage still holds, especially if you're looking to stabilize your creatinine levels without relying on medication. 2. Watermelon, nature's sweet drink for healthy kidneys in the summer. As the summer sun floods the southern and western states of the United States, where temperatures can reach 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 37 to 38 degrees Celsius, the need to hydrate and cool the body becomes a top priority, especially for the elderly and those living with chronic kidney disease, CKD. In this context, watermelon emerges as a natural drink that is both sweet and healthy, a gift from nature that effectively supports the kidneys, which you can find in any supermarket in the summer. It is no coincidence that kidney nutritionists often include watermelon in the list of priority fruits in the United States. According to the USDA, just 1 cup of watermelon, about 154 grams, contains about 170 milligrams of potassium, lower than the recommended limit of 250 milligrams per serving for people with CKD stages 3 to 4. This is a big plus because potassium control becomes vital when the kidneys are impaired, helping to avoid the risk of arrhythmia or hyperkalemia, a common dangerous complication. In addition, with 92% water, watermelon is not just a food, but an ideal sweet water source for people who need to replenish fluids but still want to limit bottled drinks with additives. Especially in older Americans, who often experience silent dehydration due to a decreased sense of thirst, watermelon becomes a safe choice to maintain circulating volume, increase glomerular filtration rate, and support the excretion of toxins such as urea and creatinine. However, the value of watermelon does not stop at water and potassium. Its bright red color comes from lycopene, an antioxidant in the carotenoid family. It can reduce oxidative stress in renal tubular cells, fight inflammation, and protect tissues from damage caused by nitrogen waste. According to a Review in Phytotherapy Research, 2020, and Frontiers in Pharmacology, 2019, lycopene positively affects diabetic kidney disease and hypertension, the 2 leading causes of chronic kidney disease and dialysis in the United States. 1 cup of watermelon can contain up to 6,500 to 6,800 micrograms of lycopene, which is on par with cooked tomatoes, making watermelon a 2-in-1 choice, a water source and a cell protector. However, it is essential to understand that a lot is not necessarily good. Although watermelon has a low potassium index per serving, eating more than 2 to 3 cups at a time can push the total potassium level beyond the safe threshold for people with kidney disease. Particularly for people restricting their fluid intake, consuming large amounts of watermelon can increase circulatory fluid pressure, making the kidneys and heart work harder, an often overlooked risk factor. Therefore, it is better to divide the portion size, about 1 cup at a time, and consume it during the day when the body needs water, such as after exercise or being in the sun. Be creative to avoid boredom. Juice watermelon with a few mint leaves, or add a little lemon juice to create a kidney-friendly beverage. But be careful. Stay away from bottled juices as they often contain added sugar, flavorings, and preservatives, all of which put a metabolic burden on failing kidneys. In addition, eating whole pieces helps retain the amount of fiber, although small, which still supports the digestive process and stabilizes blood sugar. In the journey to protect the kidneys in a country with harsh climates and fast food like America, watermelon is a rustic but wise choice, helping you cool the body, support blood filtration, reduce inflammation, and maintain homeostasis naturally and gently. Don't just think of watermelon as a summer dessert. Consider it part of a simple but effective kidney support therapy that nature has given. 3. Red grapes, biological bodyguards protecting each filtering unit of the kidney. If you are looking for a fruit that is not only delicious, but also can accompany the kidneys on the journey to fight aging and inflammation, then red grapes are a silent warrior worthy of honor. Hidden behind the thin, succulent skin is a combination of valuable biological compounds that modern science has been discovering. Beneficial for people living with chronic kidney disease, CKD, which is affecting more than 37 million adults in the United States, according to statistics from the CDC, 2023. Red grapes stand out thanks to containing resveratrol, a famous polyphenol compound found in grape skin, considered a molecular shield that helps inhibit oxidative stress, reduce systemic inflammation, and protect kidney tissue from free radical attacks. According to the publication of Frontiers in Physiology, 2019, resveratrol has demonstrated the ability to reduce mitochondrial damage and restore renal tubular function while supporting blood pressure stabilization, one of the key factors in preventing CKD from progressing to the end stage. Not only that, NCBI, 2020, also noted the effect of resveratrol in inhibiting kidney cell death by apoptosis, thereby maintaining a stable glomerular filtration rate, GFR. What makes red grapes a safe choice for people with kidney disease is that the amount of potassium is only about 180 milligrams in each half cup, approximately 75 grams, much lower than fruits such as bananas, 450 milligrams, cantaloupe, 430 milligrams, or oranges, 240 milligrams. For people with stage 3 to 4 CKD, where potassium is limited to around 2,000 milligrams per day, red grapes are perfectly suitable for dietary supplementation without the risk of hyperkalemia. This condition can lead to arrhythmia or cardiac arrest if left unchecked. Additionally, red grapes have a medium-low glycemic index, GI, approximately 43 to 53, making them suitable for patients with concomitant type 2 diabetes, helping to control blood sugar and protect the glomerular microvasculature. Not stopping there, red grapes also provide quercetin and flavonoids, two groups of substances with strong anti-inflammatory activities. These substances have been shown to reduce the expression of inflammatory cytokines, IL-6, TNF-alpha, which cause renal fibrosis, according to Phytotherapy Research, 2021, in a pilot study on diabetic mice with kidney complications. The results showed that glomerular filtration function was significantly improved after only 6 weeks of using red grape extract, opening up the potential for early intervention in CKD. However, a common mistake is to replace fresh grapes with raisins. This should be avoided because raisins contain 3 to 5 times more sugar and potassium, which can easily cause blood sugar to spike and pressure the excretory system. Moreover, many types of grapes in packaged salads in the U.S. can be coated with sugar or preservatives, factors that cause inflammation, directly affecting the kidneys. If possible, opt for organic grapes or USDA. Organic certified products to avoid pesticide residues, something that is strongly recommended in Environmental Working Group, EWG reports. Regarding usage, red grapes can be the perfect mid-work snack, helping to satisfy hunger, stabilize blood sugar, and not increase the filtering pressure on the kidneys. You can add a few grapes to a bowl of plain Greek yogurt sprinkled with chia seeds for a light and kidney-friendly breakfast. Although simple, the regularity, 1/2 cup per day, can bring cumulative benefits in the long run. In a modern world where you're easily hooked on junk food and chronically stressed, red grapes are more than just a dessert. They're a steadfast ally for your kidneys, protecting you daily without a prescription. Each grape is a small step, but a step in the right direction to help keep your kidneys healthy, whether you're living in the hustle and bustle of New York or the heat of Phoenix, Arizona. 4. Cherries. Red gem? Anti-inflammatory. Naturally for kidneys. In the list of beautiful and good fruits for kidney health, cherries or cherries deserve to be called the precious red gem. For Americans, cherries are not only a symbol of summer, of fragrant tarts or cool cocktails, but also a potent source of natural anti-inflammation, beneficial for people living with chronic kidney disease who need to control the smoldering inflammation in the body strictly. The most prominent feature of cherries is the high content of anthocyanins, a group of flavonoid pigments that create the characteristic deep red color. According to a synthesis of analyses published in the Journal of Nutrition, 2018, anthocyanins in cherries can inhibit inflammatory factors such as CRP, CTNF-alpha, and IL-6, agents that have been shown to contribute to renal fibrosis and promote progression of glomerular filtration rate decline. Particularly for patients with type 2 diabetes or hypertension, the two highest risk groups for CKD in the United States, reducing chronic inflammation plays a key role in slowing disease progression. In addition, cherries are also known as a natural uric acid lowering agent, helping prevent gout attacks, a common complication in people with kidney failure. A famous study from Boston University, 2012, followed more than 600 gout patients and showed that the risk of gout attacks was reduced by 35% when consuming cherries regularly within the previous 2 days. This is especially important because gout is painful and increases the burden on the kidneys in processing purine metabolites. Nutritionally, cherries are also a relatively safe choice for potassium if consumed in moderation. A serving of about half a cup, approximately 75 grams, contains only about 160 to 180 milligrams of potassium, in line with the recommended potassium intake limit for patients with stage 3 to 4 CKD. In addition, cherries have a low glycemic index, approximately 20 to 22, so they do not cause a spike in blood sugar, which is very important in protecting the capillary system in the glomerulus and preventing kidney complications due to diabetes. Cherries also contain natural melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep, which is very helpful for patients with chronic kidney disease who often have sleep disorders, prolonged insomnia due to electrolyte imbalance, and uremia. A deep and stable sleep helps improve cell recovery, thereby supporting immune function and reducing progressive kidney damage. However, for cherries to truly become a tonic, patients need to avoid using canned, sugar-coated, or cherry syrup products that are popular in American supermarkets, but contain high levels of sugar and preservatives, which can easily damage the endothelium of blood vessels and increase the pressure of blood filtration for the kidneys. Choose fresh, frozen cherries with no added sugar, and if possible, buy organic to avoid pesticide residues, as recommended by the Environmental Working Group, EWG. Cherries can be enjoyed as a snack in the evening, helping you relax and improve your sleep, or as a dessert after lunch, replacing sugary pastries. Some people like to add a few cherries to their breakfast oatmeal or combine them with unsalted walnuts, creating an effective anti-inflammatory and kidney-friendly meal. In short, cherries are not only a summer treat, but also a natural remedy that fights inflammation, lowers uric acid, and aids sleep, all of which are extremely necessary to protect and prolong the life of the kidneys. For those living and working in the U.S., where gout and high blood pressure are on the rise, a handful of cherries a day may be just what your kidneys have been secretly waiting for. 5. Berries, little antioxidant gems that help prolong kidney life. In the silent battle to protect the kidneys from damage and functional decline, berries, from blueberries, strawberries, raspberries to blackberries, are no different from the bright and powerful little gems. Despite their small size, each berry contains hundreds of compounds that benefit health, especially the function of filtering blood and protecting kidney cells from oxidative stress, a key cause and promoter of chronic kidney disease, CKD. According to a study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry, 2017, berries have the highest ORAC, free radical absorbance, capacity index among fruits, helping to neutralize free radicals, the culprits that damage endothelial cells in the kidneys and promote glomerulosclerosis. In particular, blueberries contain anthocyanin, an antioxidant that gives them their characteristic blue-purple color and helps protect the membranes of kidney cells, supporting the recovery of damaged nephrons. It is essential for CKD patients, especially those in stages 3 to 4, to control potassium, and berries are a surprisingly low potassium fruit group. According to the USDA, half a cup of strawberries contains about 100 to 20 milligrams of potassium. Blueberries about 65 to 70 milligrams, much lower than tropical fruits like bananas or mangoes. This makes berries an ideal food for a strict potassium-controlled diet, especially when you have to consider safety and nutrition. Not only do berries help protect the kidneys, they also improve blood vessel health and control blood sugar, two factors that directly affect the longevity of kidney patients. Research from the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, NIDDK, shows that daily berry supplementation helps reduce systolic blood pressure, improve HOMAIR, insulin resistance, and reduce microalbuminuria, an early warning indicator of glomerular damage, especially for Americans where berries are widely grown and easily accessible in fresh and frozen forms. Berries are a great alternative to refined sugar desserts. You can add a handful of blueberries to unsweetened yogurt, mix them with steel-cut oats, or eat them directly as a mid-workout snack, helping to stabilize blood sugar, keep you full for a long time, and not strain the kidneys. It's essential to avoid store-bought berry syrups and jams, which often contain added sugar, preservatives, and artificial flavors, not good for your kidneys. Instead, opt for fresh or frozen berries with no added sugar, and choose organic if possible, especially strawberries, which top the Environmental Working Group's EDWG Dirty Dozen list due to their high pesticide residue. In short, berries are a colorful gift from nature and a protective armor for the kidneys that helps prevent oxidation, inflammation, control potassium, and stabilize blood sugar. In the U.S.'s stressful and processed food environment, adding a few berries to your daily meals is a small act that can make a big difference in protecting your precious kidneys. 1. Star fruit, an absolutely dangerous fruit for people with kidney disease. Star fruit, a fruit shaped like a star when cut in half, is often loved for its refreshing taste and unique appearance. However, for those with kidney disease, this is a fruit that should not only be avoided, but absolutely eliminated from the diet. The reason? Star fruit contains a toxic compound to the nervous system called caramboxin, and the body can only eliminate this substance when the kidneys are functioning well. In studies published by the American Journal of Kidney Diseases and the Brazilian Journal of Nephrology, there have been many cases of patients with stage 3 or later chronic kidney disease experiencing serious neurological complications after eating half a star fruit or drinking about 100 milliliters of star fruit juice. Symptoms include uncontrollable hiccups, confusion, vomiting, seizures, and in some severe cases deep coma or even death, despite emergency dialysis. What makes star fruit particularly dangerous is that the toxin is not destroyed during processing, not even when cooked or juiced. According to the National Kidney Foundation, NKF, even people who have not been diagnosed with kidney disease but have impaired blood filtering function are at risk of star fruit poisoning if consumed in excess. In the United States, star fruit is often found in tropical fruit salads, cocktails at Asian restaurants, or as a garnish, making consumers mistakenly believe it is a healthy food. But pretty does not mean safe, and knowing the origin of every dish you enjoy is essential. Tip: if you or a loved one is in CKD stage 3 or higher, or is on dialysis, absolutely do not eat star fruit, even in tiny amounts. For healthy people, if you consume star fruit regularly, for example, drinking star fruit juice daily, you should check your kidney function periodically to detect the risk of toxin accumulation early. In kidney nutrition, there is no such thing as a little bit won't hurt with star fruit. Just one moment of carelessness can be the seed of an irreversible medical tragedy.
So, eliminate this fruit from your meals and proactively ask about the ingredients of dishes at restaurants or parties. Safety always starts with understanding. 2. Bananas, a huge source of potassium indirectly threatening the lives of people with kidney disease. Bananas, one of the most popular fruits in the world, often praised for being rich in potassium, fiber, and vitamin B6, are potential enemies of the kidneys when the blood filtering function has decreased. It sounds contradictory, but because of their high nutritional value, bananas can cause serious consequences for people with chronic kidney disease if the dosage is not strictly controlled. According to data from the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, just one medium banana, 118 grams, contains about 422 milligrams of potassium, nearly 20% of the daily potassium requirement of a normal person. For people with kidney disease, especially those in CKD stages 3-5 or on dialysis, the kidneys are no longer able to remove excess potassium effectively, leading to a condition called hyperkalemia, an extremely dangerous condition. Hyperkalemia can cause heart rhythm disturbances, muscle weakness, paralysis, and in severe cases, sudden cardiac arrest. According to the National Kidney Foundation, NKF, blood potassium levels exceeding 5.5 mmol/L can be life-threatening. CKD patients are advised by doctors to limit their potassium intake to less than 2,000 milligrams per day, which means just 2 bananas could exceed the safe level.
Many Latinos, Asians, and Blacks, groups at higher risk for CKD than the general population, have a habit of consuming oranges and orange juice regularly. Not having their kidney function checked regularly makes it difficult for them to realize that their bodies are no longer processing this seemingly healthy amount of potassium. A study published in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology, CJASN, found that regular consumption of orange juice was associated with a significantly higher rate of hyperkalemia in CKD patients, mainly when used in combination with potassium-sparing drugs such as ARBs or spironolactone. This suggests a dangerous synergistic effect between food and medicines in the context of impaired kidney function. Another often overlooked factor is dried oranges, which are used as a healthy snack in many American households. However, dried oranges have a much higher potassium density than fresh oranges and are easy to overconsume due to their compact size. If not careful, people with kidney disease can load up 1,000 milligrams of potassium with just a few pieces of dried orange. The solution? Replace oranges and orange juice with other kidney-friendly sources of vitamin C, such as apples, strawberries, red grapes, or blueberries. You can still boost your immunity without sacrificing kidney health. If you crave the taste of oranges, consider adding natural orange flavoring to your water, or using a small amount of orange peel to flavor your food, all without the potassium. Oranges aren't sour, but for people with weak kidneys, they're no longer a healthy fruit. Understanding what your body needs and what to avoid is the first step to staying healthy and managing chronic kidney disease. 4. Avocados. A superfood, not for weak kidneys. Over the past decade, avocados have become a symbol of health food in the United States, appearing in everything from breakfast toasts to detox smoothies to superfood salads. High in monounsaturated fats, vitamin E, and antioxidants, avocados are often recommended as part of a healthy diet, especially for the heart. However, avocados are also one of the fruits with the highest potassium content, which is bad news for people with kidney problems. According to USDA Food Data Central, just one medium avocado, approximately 200 grams, contains more than 970 milligrams of potassium, nearly half of the maximum daily allowance for people with chronic kidney disease, CKD. Stages 3 to 5, usually 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams depending on the severity of kidney function. That means even half an avocado in the morning can put you over the safe limit, especially if you combine it with other potassium-rich foods like bananas, oranges, or beans. Hyperkalemia is one of the most dangerous complications for CKD patients, causing heart rhythm disturbances, muscle weakness, paralysis, and can lead to sudden cardiac arrest. A National Kidney Foundation (NKF) report said that if blood potassium exceeds 6.0 millimoles per liter, the patient is at high risk of being hospitalized in the emergency room. Even more worrying, many people still eat avocados daily because they think plants are harmless, while the kidney's filtering function has silently declined. The popularity of avocados in the U.S. also lies in their camouflage. Avocados are not only eaten whole, but also pureed in guacamole, mixed into smoothies, made into salad dressings, or spread on bread, making the actual consumption often much higher than we think. A thick slice of bread with guacamole can contain up to 500 to 600 milligrams of potassium, equivalent to almost a banana. Additionally, people with kidney disease are often on a diet that limits animal protein and are advised to supplement with vegetable fats, making avocados an even more ideal but risky alternative. Many online articles suggest avocados as an overall healthy food without warnings for people with kidney disease, leading to a standard and dangerous misconception. The solution? If you or a loved one is being treated for chronic kidney disease, ask your doctor or renal dietitian about your daily potassium allowance and avoid avocados, even in small amounts. You can substitute extra virgin olive oil, blueberries, or apples, which are still delicious, nutritious, and much safer. Avocados are a superfood, but only if your kidneys are healthy enough to process the potassium they provide. When you live with CKD, choosing the right foods isn't just a matter of nutrition, it's a matter of survival, and sometimes moderation is the key to staying healthy every day. 5. Cantaloupe honeydew. Sweet potassium bombs that should not be overlooked when summer comes. Many American families, especially in hot states like California, Texas, or Florida, often choose cantaloupe and honeydew as ideal desserts because of their refreshing taste, rich water content, and easy eating. However, few people know that these two fruits are incredibly high sources of potassium, which can pose serious dangers to people living with chronic kidney disease, CKD. According to data from USDA Food Data Central, just 1 cup of cubed cantaloupe, 160 grams, contains up to 473 milligrams of potassium. At the same time, the same amount of honeydew also contains about 388 milligrams of potassium. Thus, a small serving accounts for 20 to 30% of the maximum daily potassium allowance for CKD stages 3 to 5 patients. And if you drink 2 cups, which is not uncommon in the summer, you could accidentally exceed the safe level in a split second. Hyperkalemia, a direct result of the kidney's inability to remove excess potassium, is one of the most serious complications for people with kidney disease. It can lead to muscle weakness, heart rhythm disturbances, and cardiac arrest if left unchecked. According to the National Kidney Foundation, a small amount of potassium that may seem harmless to a normal person can become an overdose for someone with impaired kidneys. The danger is that cantaloupe and honeydew melon are not often considered dangerous fruits. They are widely sold in all major supermarkets such as Costco, Walmart, and Whole Foods, and are usually regarded as light, low sugar, and nutritious. This creates a profound misunderstanding. People with kidney disease often eat cantaloupe to cool down without knowing that they are taking in a very high amount of potassium. In addition, people following a healthy diet or losing weight can also combine cantaloupe with smoothies, nut milks, or vegetable juices, further increasing the risk of excess potassium in the diet. For example, a glass of detox juice with cantaloupe and banana can contain more than 800 to 900 milligrams of potassium, a hazardous number if a doctor does not closely monitor the patient. Not only that, some elderly people, especially those of Asian or Latino origin living in the U.S., have the habit of squeezing cantaloupe juice to drink every morning because they think it is good for digestion. But for people with weak kidneys, it is no different from adding more toxins to an already exhausted excretory system. So, what is the solution? If you are living with CKD, limit or altogether avoid eating cantaloupe and honeydew melon. Instead, choose watermelon, which is significantly lower in potassium and still effective in cooling down. You can also switch to berries such as blueberries, red grapes, or apples, which are both nutritious and safer for kidney health. Remember, not all cool, sweet, juicy fruits are good for the kidneys. In chronic kidney disease, accurate nutritional awareness is the last line of defense before facing dialysis or other serious complications. Don't let those incredible melons become forbidden fruit in your journey to a healthy life. 6. Dried fruit. A pack of nutrients and a dense kidney risk. Dried fruit has long been popular in the U.S. for its convenience, delicious taste, and long shelf life. They are often considered a healthy snack, appearing in the pantries of many families, offices, and especially in the snacks of older people. However, behind that seemingly harmless appearance is a danger for people with chronic kidney disease, CKD. The amount of concentrated potassium is much higher than in fresh fruit. According to data from USDA Food Data Central, just 100 grams of prunes contains up to 732 milligrams of potassium. At the same time, raisins provide about 749 milligrams of potassium, and dates can contain up to 656 milligrams of potassium. These numbers are close to or exceed the safe daily threshold for patients with stage 4 to 5 CKD. Even more dangerous is the compactness and ease of overeating dried fruit, causing patients to accidentally consume double or triple the amount of potassium without knowing it. Unlike fresh fruit with a high water content, dried fruit is a nutritional compact. Not only are vitamins and sugars concentrated, but minerals like potassium are also much more concentrated. If you eat 5 fresh plums, you get about 200 to 250 milligrams of potassium, but 5 dried plums can provide 350 to 450 milligrams of potassium, and no one eats dried plums and stops at 5. In addition, many dried fruit products contain added sugar and preservatives, which can cause adverse reactions in people with kidney disease, especially when they also have diabetes or high blood pressure, 2 major risk factors for impaired kidney function. A study published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases, AJKD, found that a diet high in added sugars is associated with a higher risk of rapid progression of kidney disease, even when total calories are controlled. Not stopping there, some dried fruits, such as dried bananas, dried cantaloupes, dried mangoes, have extremely high potassium levels and are often sold as organic, natural snacks. Famous brands in the U.S., such as Trader Joe's, Kirkland, or Whole Foods, usually label them as no sugar added, but do not warn about the amount of potassium in the serving, causing serious misunderstandings for people with kidney disease. The solution here is not to eliminate all dried fruit, but to be very careful about how much you eat and to talk to a renal dietitian before adding any to your diet. Some low-potassium dried fruits, such as unsweetened dried blueberries or sulfite-free dried apples, may be allowed, but only in tiny amounts and under medical supervision. If you live in the United States, where dried fruit is available at most major supermarkets, from Walmart to Costco to Amazon, read the nutrition label carefully, check the amount of potassium per serving, and don't let convenience fool you about kidney safety. Especially if you have advanced kidney disease or are taking potassium-sparing medications like spironolactone or AC inhibitors, dried fruit may be something you need to remove from your pantry today. The concentration in dried fruit is a double-edged sword. It compresses both nutrients and risks, and weak kidneys cannot handle that pressure. 7. Kiwi, small fruit, significant risk for weak kidneys. Kiwi, a small fruit with a rough skin but a bright green color inside, has long been considered a hero in nutrition. It often appears in healthy breakfasts, detox smoothies, vegetable salads, or is suggested as a weight loss dessert. However, if you are living with chronic kidney disease, CKD, kiwi is one of the fruits you should be especially careful with. If not, stay away. The reason? Kiwi is extremely high in potassium. According to USDA Food Data Central, just one medium kiwi, approximately 75 grams, contains about 215 to 250 milligrams of potassium. This means that just 2 kiwis will give you more than 500 milligrams of potassium, equivalent to 1/4 to 1/3 of the recommended daily potassium intake for people with moderate to severe kidney disease. For normal people, it may be a little vitamin supplement, but for people with CKD, it is a dose that challenges the kidney's filtering function. Not stopping there, kiwi is also a highly acidic fruit, pH approximately 3.1 to 3.4, which can easily irritate the digestive tract, especially if the patient is taking phosphate binders or antihypertensive drugs that cause mucosal sensitivity. A 2021 study published in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology also showed that a diet high in potassium-rich and highly acidic foods is associated with an increased rate of progression of chronic kidney disease. More importantly, kiwi is often listed as a superfood in food promotion campaigns in the U.S., especially on platforms like Pinterest, YouTube, and TikTok. Clips sharing recipes for body-cleansing smoothies and weight loss detoxes often use kiwi as the main ingredient, without warning that it can put people with kidney disease in a dangerous situation if consumed regularly. In addition, kiwi is often combined with other fruits that are also rich in potassium, such as bananas, mangoes, and pineapples, creating a sweet but risky combo. Meanwhile, the majority of kidney patients in the U.S., especially the elderly or those of Asian or Latin American descent, do not have the habit of reading ingredient labels and checking the amount of potassium in their daily diet, leading to many unfortunate accidents. So, can you eat kiwi if only a little? The answer depends on the stage of the disease, current blood potassium levels, and personalized medical monitoring. However, eliminating kiwi from the diet is the safest option for most CKD patients without dialysis. You can replace it with red grapes, apples, or blueberries, which are low in potassium and antioxidants. When it comes to kidney disease, it's not about avoiding all fruit, but understanding which fruits can be the last straw. Kiwi may be a superfood for many people, but for those with failing kidneys, it's a super burden that you should think twice about putting in your mouth. We've just uncovered 5 familiar fruits that act as silent protectors of your kidneys, and 7 others that may raise creatinine and even push you toward dialysis. The key is that you don't need to change everything overnight. Start by adding an apple, a handful of red grapes, or a few berries to your daily meals, while slowly cutting back on the risky ones. Small choices today can make a big difference in your kidney health tomorrow. If you found this video helpful, leave a comment sharing which fruit you eat most often. Share this with others who need to protect their kidneys, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the following life-saving kidney health tips.